Hi, I'm Arya. I recently completed my PhD in literary studies and I'm now an assistant professor in research at the Institute for Medical Humanities. Alongside this, I also co-lead the Wellcome Trust-funded Black Health and the Humanities network. So my research is broadly situated at the intersection of medical humanities, literary studies, and critical race studies. I'm interested in how creative practitioners in contemporary African diasporic contexts express distress, mental health, and healing in ways that go beyond the kind of dominant biomedical models and clinical practice that we see in Euro-American psychiatry, particularly clinical framings of distress as disorder. And a lot of this work is hugely indebted to the Black Health and the Humanities network, which I was a member of in the final year of my study. It initially began at the University of Bristol, and I'm hugely excited to be carrying it forward to Durham. So Durham's IMH is really an exciting place to be doing research right now because we've got the Black Health Network as well as other networks like the Neurodivergent Humanities Network and the PG Network, which all run a range of activities to support early career researcher development and develop best practices in the field. So I always had an interest in trauma narratives in contemporary African fiction, and this is what my undergraduate and my master's dissertations were based on. But I realized that when I was developing my doctoral research, I really needed to find an alternative vocabulary for thinking through the kind of decolonial and intersectional approach that I was trying to formulate in reading distress. I think another thing that stood out to me was thinking quite critically about my methodology and my own position as a researcher when engaging with sensitive material and issues that pertain to lived experience, particularly in the life writing that I was looking at. And I found the medical humanities really gave me a space to articulate these issues and to be in conversation with other scholars, because these are not things that methodology is not something that we tend to think about in straight humanities disciplines or practices. So I found it a really generative space to be able to come together with scholars from different fields. And in fact, it's being in conversation with researchers across disciplines that also gave me the confidence to start working across different medium in my doctoral research. So going beyond just narrative representations of distress or literature to looking at other forms of cultural production like performance and visual art and film. I would have really appreciated having the option of an MA in medical humanities, because I think having that kind of solid theoretical foundation and grounding in critical medical humanities, the kinds of dialogues and debates that are emerging in the field, would have really helped me to formulate what my particular intervention in the field was in terms of my own research. So another thing that I really would have benefited from was to see how these critical frameworks would have been applied in a specific research niche. And I think the research-led teaching at Durham is its particular strength. Some of the possible elective modules on options sound really fascinating and exciting and show that kind of translation from theoretical frameworks to a particular research niche. I coordinated the PG network in the final 2 years of my PhD, and it's still active and running now. The PG network is a network that runs work-in-progress forums, workshops, reading groups, and we've also run conferences in the past, and there are a couple more in the future to come. And this is just a collaborative space to really test out ideas, and this is hugely valuable if you're an early career researcher, because you get to learn from people across different fields and at different research stages as well. And it was just a supportive, inclusive space for me, particularly during the shift to digital and hybrid modes of teaching and learning, where that sense of community can be lacking, and that sense of community is also hugely important for research creativity. So it's definitely a great space.